Hey, welcome back. Today I just want to cover some upcoming vinyl releases, basically from November 25th through the end of the year. A number of these are available for pre-order right now, so you could either do that or you could wait for them to be released. But I just wanted to, honestly, I'm thinking about like some of my like top 10 lists of the year that I'm going to be planning and trying to figure out, you know, what are the most likely ones to be like the best audiophile reissue or the best, you know, new music or whatever. And so I wanted to take a look and see what was remaining before the end of the year so that I don't miss anything. So I thought I would just kind of share back some of what I found out about all of these upcoming releases. This is no way exhaustive, right? This is just, you know, me looking at the release schedule across a number of labels and trying to see like, hey, maybe what am I interested in? I'm sure that I'm going to miss plenty. We can talk about the ones that I missed in the comments because I'd love to know what releases I might have glossed over that are going to be really good. But I'm going to cover, I think it's something like 24 releases. We'll do it pretty rapid fire. I'll include the dates as well as roundabout the prices, what you could expect to pay. When I provide a price, just know that like it could be Acoustic Sounds pricing, it could be Amazon pricing, it could be direct from like Bandcamp. Obviously, do your own research, try to find the best deal with the lowest price shipping from a retailer that you actually trust to ship it to you. With all of that said, let's kind of dive right into it. So firstly, today is the 22nd of November, so we're going to talk about this coming Friday, not Black Friday RSD releases. Already covered that in a previous video. Check that out if you want to. But there are a couple of other releases that are not Record Store Day releases that are coming out this Friday as well. So firstly, Rahsaan, Roland, Kirk. The album title is Blacknuss. This is the 50th anniversary edition. It is being put out by the Modern Harmonic label. I am not familiar with them whatsoever, but they are sort of a subsidiary under the Sun-Dazed label. They also release, I think, like Sun Ra reissues. They've been doing that for a little while. This particular edition is an all-analog cut by Kevin Gray. It is being pressed at Third Man in Detroit. And as far as I can tell, it is retailing for $24.98. So pretty inexpensive, especially for a title that Kevin Gray has been involved with. The next one coming out this Friday, November 25th, is by Masahiko Togashi. And the album title is Song of Soil. This was originally put out in 1979. Let me see. I'm trying to think who put that one out. It was the Japanese label Paddle Wheel. This time around, it's being put out by We Want Sounds. This is kind of a free jazz title, I would say a little bit. It includes Don Cherry as well as Charlie Hayden. And I believe it is just a trio, so it is a sort of a piano-less, drum-less trio. Or no, that's not right. Masahiko Togashi, I think, is a drummer. So anyway, but in any event, it's a sort of sparse but free jazz title. It is retailing for $32.99. All right, two more for November that I'm not going to say is the 25th because they were supposed to be available already. And sometimes like when stuff comes out in Europe, the US sort of street date kind of floats a little bit. You never know exactly when distributors are going to be able to provide it to US retailers. So I don't know if that was the issue here, but there's a couple that don't have specific release dates, but are supposed to be sometime in November. We're kind of coming up at the end of November, so I'm going to include them here. So the first one is Sun Ra and his Blue Universe Arkestra. This is being put out by Cosmic Myth Records. They have been releasing Sun Ra reissues for the last 5 or so years. So if you're a Sun Ra fan, you're probably aware of them. This particular title is being released, I think, for $22.98. So a relatively inexpensive release. The next one is actually it's like a reissue of a reissue. And that is Nathan Davis's Peace Treaty. So fantastic album. This is actually the original pressing. Sam Records, which is an outfit out of France, I think, right? Sam Records has put out a reissue, I want to say a couple of years ago of this particular title. They do such a great job. And for the most part, the best way to get Sam Records editions is to go directly to that label. I think Acoustic Sounds and maybe some other retailers have them as well. But anyway, a couple of years ago, they put out their reissue. Guess what? They're repressing it. So it's going to be available again. This is a title that was cut by Kevin Gray, pressed at Optimal. It's 180 gram vinyl, and it retails for $39.98. All right, a couple of titles coming up that you probably are aware of already, and that is because of who's covering them. So the first one is by Chet Baker and Art Pepper. This one was originally titled Playboys. You can see it right here. This is the original pressing with its fantastic cheesecake cover and the title in a surprisingly familiar font, which seemingly became a problem. So I actually reached out to Joe Harley on this one. This was a while ago, as soon as they announced the reissue of this. And the reason why is because they're reissuing this under the title Picture of Heath. Now, Picture of Heath was the first reissue that they did of this album on Pacific back in, probably the early 60s or something like that. And they reissued it quite soon after this one. And I was interested to find out why they were releasing it as Picture of Heath and not as the very first edition Playboys. And the response that I got was that it was both a problem with the title from a sort of a copyright standpoint, and then also because this sort of cheesecake cover doesn't really hold up these days. So they didn't want to put it out looking like this. So it's going to be put out with the second edition cover. This is a Blue Note Tone Poet title. It's going to be 180 gram vinyl. It is being pressed in mono and not stereo. Mastered by Kevin Gray from the original tapes, $38.98. And again, December 2nd. So the next one that is also the same date, also Blue Note Tone Poet, is Blue Mitchell's Bring It Home to Me. So this is the original pressing. We'll see whether I end up picking up the reissue, the Tone Poet reissue, but 180 gram, another Kevin Gray item from the original master tapes, also $38.98. All right, the next one is actually a Candid Records release, which is a little unusual because it's a Wayne Shorter title. You see Wayne Shorter, you expect Blue Note, not in this case, but it is Wayne Shorter live at the Detroit Jazz Festival. This is a double LP, 180 gram vinyl, remastered by Bernie Grudman. It's going to have a tip-on jacket. Again, being put out by Candid Records, which I do believe is sort of seated under Craft Recordings. They always do a great job. $35.98, also on December 2nd. All right, next up, this is pretty exciting, and actually I think a lot of folks missed out. Not missed out, I think it's still available, but it went under the radar. So the Pyramids is a pretty sort of notorious group from the standpoint of like, sort of like Afrofuturism, spiritual jazz kind of thing. And the Pyramids 1970s recordings came out as this really fantastic box set by Strut Records. This thing is absolutely beautiful. Each of the jackets look great. The additional content, the fact that it's all here. So you have Lalibela, King of Kings, Birth Speed Merging, and the Pyramids live at KQED, all in this box set. And it's not that expensive. It's like $62, which, okay, it's not like cheap, but for all of this content, it's quite amazing. Anyway, for those of you who having the box set was too much Pyramids, which I don't know how you would say that, you're actually going to be able to buy these individual titles that are in the box set. So it includes King of Kings, Lalibela, Birth Speed Merging, and then I'm not sure if that live title is going to be included as a separate release, but what they are releasing is Idris Ackamoor's Idrissa's Dream, which is another title that wasn't included here because it was recorded much later, I think, and they're putting that out. These are all individual releases. In case you didn't want that box set, you can get them. They range in price from $29.98 to $32.98. I can't speak for the process that they used to actually make these. What I can say is, having heard the box set, it sounds really, really good. So keep an eye out for that one, again, December 2nd as well. The next one is a free jazz title, and it is by Philippe Matte and Jeff Gilson. And it is called, I think, Philippe Matte and Jeff Gilson's Workshop, or maybe just Workshop. The original one was released on Palm in 1972. It is quite rare, difficult to get, expensive if you find it. This one is being reissued by SouffleContinu Records, which is out of France. Forgive my poor French accent. It was put out in Europe a few weeks ago, but as I mentioned earlier, sometimes it takes releases a little bit to hit the US. This one is hitting US retailers on December 2nd, and it is going to be available for $32.98. All right, I want to issue a warning now, because in these videos, I like to talk about releases that I'm looking forward to. But I got somewhat fooled by a couple of releases that are slated on the calendar that are available from major US retailers, and I don't even know if they know the potential issue. I don't want to say that it's like I'm not the expert on this, but I think that these are bootlegs. I think that these are unauthorized recordings. And so I want you to be careful, not only because I think it's sort of poor form to give labels that are releasing unauthorized releases your money, but also like who knows about the quality, returns process, etc., etc. So these three releases are by a label called Audio Clarity. If you look up on Discogs who Audio Clarity is, Discogs says they are a Russian bootleg label that makes releases from unauthorized sources. So that's the only information I have that I'm going on, is that that's what's been posted on Discogs. They've released other titles in the past, and unfortunately, I saw these on, I think on like Acoustic Sounds. They shouldn't be. Normally, they stay away from bootlegs, so we'll see. Maybe they'll take it down, or maybe I'm wrong. But like I said, I would just be careful about these if you see them. I'm not going to get them until I learn more, or until I have confirmation that they're decent and that they're not bootlegs. So those three titles are Pharoah Sanders' Tauhid. I can never why is it that I always get stuck with like these words that I can't pronounce? This is like embarrassing. The other one is Dorothy Ashby's Afro-Harping. And then the third is Freddie Hubbard's Red Clay. And so the problem here is that these aren't just like throwaway titles that no one cares about. These are great titles. These are great albums, each of them, and there may be a lot of people lining up to try to want to get one of these, and that's why I want to be really cautious about saying that anybody should order them, because they may indeed be bootlegs. They're available for $28.98, which isn't terribly expensive, but it also makes me think maybe they're not the best done. I wanted to mention them, but I'm telling you, do your homework and tread carefully with these three titles. All right, let's keep it going. We're on December 9th now. So the first one is Masaru Imada Trio +1, and the title is Planets. It is being reissued by BBE Music. They have this Japanese jazz series, or J-Jazz series. I try to get every single one of them. I love this stuff. They do such a great job. This is a double LP. It's going to be on sale for $35.98. The reason why I'm holding it right now, because this is not the original, this is the BBE, is because it was released in Europe, and I got my copy already because I ordered it directly from BBE, but now it's being made available to US distributors for much less than what I had to pay for this, because I had to pay like $20 for shipping. So, joke's on me, I guess, but I highly encourage everybody to get into this series because every single title is fantastic. So that's that. Also on December 9th is Mel Brown's Chicken Fat. So this is going to be the third release by the Verve by Request label, who put out Ta the El Dowd as well as Beat. This is their third title, 180 gram, $29.98. Let's see, we also have Charles Lloyd Trio's Sacred Thread. Blue Note is putting this out. It is not a tone poet. I don't even think it's like a classic series because I think it might be new music. But 180 gram vinyl and $27.98. All right, moving right along on December 9th, there's a bunch of titles. We have Donald Byrd live, I think it's Cookin' with Blue Note at Montreux. So it is a live edition. 180 gram, $25.98. This is one of those that I want to say that there's been other live titles put out from other musicians from that very same festival. But anyway, this is Donald Byrd at a particularly, I think, creative time and interesting time for him, because he had been putting out some interesting titles for for Blue Note and getting into that electric thing in the early 70s. And so this could be a pretty interesting one. Next one is Makaya McCraven. So this is actually a reissue, but I think still important to talk about. It's called In the Moment. It is a 2022, so this year, repress of a title that was originally put out in 2015. And it's being put out by International Anthem. I actually think that this is good timing because Mikhail McCraven, I think, is at a different spot in terms of like notoriety right now than maybe he was in 2015. And so all the people who have sort of become fans since some of his earlier albums, including myself, I'm counting myself in that, are looking for some of those earlier ones that have otherwise been difficult to get. Because they haven't been in print in a while. So it is a double LP. It's being put out on 140 gram vinyl. This one has Jeff Parker, Junius Paul, some others. I don't know. It's just I pre-ordered one already because I'm excited for it. And again, it kind of falls in this December 9th thing because the reissue I think is supposed to ship by then or maybe arrive by then. But anyway, they're charging $30 for that title, so keep an eye out. Another one by International Anthem is Desron Douglas's Atalaya. This is a brand new title, 160 gram vinyl, pressed at Smashed Plastic, which is in Chicago, and it is $24. I previewed some of the tracks on Bandcamp, on International Anthem's Bandcamp page. Sounds great, so I had to pre-order that one. All right, final one for December 9th, a title called Onyx by Sasha Berliner. So this one is by JMI Recordings. Not everybody may be familiar with JMI. They're relatively small. They have a couple of artists sort of that they've signed or that they've been releasing work including Ray Angry. Anyway, this one is getting a lot of attention, Sasha Berliner's Onyx. I've seen a lot of super positive write-ups from, I think, the digital release that happened maybe earlier this year. And I previewed a little bit of it. Sounds great. JMI does such a great job in terms of the pressing quality. It just always sounds great. The recording process, everything seems to be top notch. This title is only available, as far as I can tell, at JMI's website. They are based in the US though, so you don't have to worry about crazy shipping prices. I'll drop a link in the description in case you want to check it out directly, but this one is on sale for $30. And again, it comes out on December 9th. So let's move along to December 16th. So this one is pretty exciting. It is Pharoah Sanders' Karma. This is what the original pressing looks like. Should be familiar to everyone. It is being put out not in the Verve by Request series, but by Acoustic Sounds Impulse series, which is absolutely phenomenal. They've been doing such a great job with every title that they've touched. And I love this album so much that I'm probably going to have to get it. So let's see, 180 gram vinyl, pressed at QRP. It's going to have the Stoughton tip-on jacket, mastered by Ryan Smith at Sterling Sound, from the original analog tapes, $38.98. Very, very excited for that title. All right, also on December 16th, we have some Blue Note releases in their Classic series. So the first one, and I do have these titles somewhere, but I didn't pull them out. The Eminent J.J. Johnson Volume 1. This is a all analog pressing, mastered by Kevin Gray, 180 gram vinyl, $27.98. But again, this is a Classic series, not Tone Poet. The next one that they're tackling same day is Thelonious Monk, or The Genius of Thelonious Monk. I think that's volume 1 as well. This is a mono pressing as well in the Blue Note Classic series. 180 gram vinyl, all analog, mastered by Kevin Gray, also $27.98. The next title is Benny Carter, Jazz Giant. This is on Contemporary Records. This is being put out in the Craft Recordings Acoustic Sound series for Contemporary series that they've been doing. Each one has sounded great. You may remember, what was it, the Art Pepper title that they put out in Record Store Day in June in mono, which the stereo edition I think is coming out in March now. But anyway, they've been doing such a great job with each of these. They sound fantastic. 180 gram vinyl, all analog mastering by Bernie Grunman, pressed at QRP, Stoughton jackets. Want to say that this is $24.98 as well. So keep an eye out for that one. All right, scratch the $24.98 is $29.98. I just checked. All right, the last one that I want to talk about, because typically they're not brand new releases coming out the very last week of December. I think they usually just kind of wait the extra week and push them into January. And that is kind of an interesting one. I know very little about this album, except that it's rare, it's in demand, it's hard to find an original copy, and I don't think that there's been too many reissues of it. So the artist is Penny Goodwin, and the album title is called Portrait of a Gemini. This is being released by Groove Diggers Records. I am not familiar with this label. It's being released for $57.98. So I don't know yet whether that's that's what it's available for right now, because they're like drop shipping from an European distributor, and so the shipping costs are kind of baked in. What I mean by drop shipping is that like the US retailer doesn't actually have the item in hand, but they're selling it, and so you can order from their website, but then you're paying for like the full retail price plus shipping and taxes and everything, and it goes direct from wherever that distributor is. That could be the reason why it's $57.98. I know it's a limited edition. I don't know what additional content you get. There really hasn't even been a press release about it, but I've saw it out there for sale or for pre-order. And again, it's just one of these rare titles that I've been looking for an original copy of. Never happened to hear it, but it's just one of those sought after things. So I think that was all the titles that I was going to cover. Let me know if I missed something in the comments, because it's helpful for the vinyl community. It's also helpful for me because it may be something that I'm interested in and that I want to pre-order. There's also just so much coming out in January. I'll cover that in a later video as we get a bit closer, but maybe this will help you as you sort of add any pre-orders in leading up to Christmas. So hope you found this informative. Thanks very much. Please hit subscribe, and I'll talk to you later.